everyone, making another video. I'm making 3 videos in one day because I'm trying to have them do well because my other videos aren't doing well. So please go check those out. Anyways, we're gonna be diving into a deep dive of the outlooks and seeing what's gonna be going on. And we're gonna do 3 things for these. We're gonna highlight the warm and cold areas. I mean, you can probably already see them. But then we're also gonna outline the jet stream. And we're going to talk about what people can experience depending on where you live. So sit back. This might be a longer one. So grab something to eat, grab something to drink, and enjoy the video, guys. With that being said, let's enjoy. So, 6 to 10 days from now, we have a very interesting pattern coming up. So let's first highlight the jet stream. We're going to be using this. So jet stream's looking something like this. Follow the black. They might be thinking, that's wild. I know. It's just... Here's why. As you can see, there is high pressure, which those blue highs, that mean high pressure is coming in. Now, what is this doing exactly? This is basically turning the jet stream into kind of pushing the jet stream down a bit. That's why we had this huge dip in the jet stream. So, let's see what's going on in these areas. So, if you live in northern Kansas, southern Nebraska, basically, and far western Iowa, and far northwestern Missouri, you could be experiencing some pretty warm temperatures. Like if the average temperature was 50, we'll use 50 as a baseline. It would be, I want to say, around like 55 or 60. If you live in the surrounding areas, including parts of, well, this is Minnesota, except for Minnesota. Minnesota's whole. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, South Dakota, and North Dakota. If you live in these areas, you can be experiencing like the average temperature was 50 again. It would be around 53 to 54. Maybe no, it would be around like 54. Well, yeah, like 53 to 55. And if you live in these areas, which are basically just a highlight of this, if the average temperature is 50, you experience like maybe 51 to 53. So, but if you live in these cold areas, which is only 2 layers, so I don't have to do much. This is basically just the same as this. Probably the average temperature would probably be like 40. So, yeah. So if you live in these areas, so basically this area here. If you live in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, you could be experiencing some, like if the average temperature, again, was 50, it would probably be around 45 to 43. And if you live on these east edge, or maybe like this little ridge here, this probably means that like it'll be like if the average temperature is 50, it'd be like maybe 49 to 47. I accidentally messed up this one, but yeah, that's basically what it could be experiencing. Now, for our next one, we're going to be going to 8 to 14 days from now. And a huge thing has changed. So let's dive into it. We're going to start off the cold. If you live in California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington, you could be experiencing, like, if the average temperature again was 50, it'd probably be around 40. And then this would be like 43 to 45, and this would be 47 to 49. Now, this is where it gets insane. If you live in this little strip with Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, and North Dakota, and parts of Minnesota, you could be, like, if the average temperature was 50, it'd be like 51 to 53. If you live in this other little strip, which basically includes the same states, you can maybe see if the average temperature is 50, you would have around, like, again, if the average temperature was 50, it would probably be around 53 to 55. If you live in this area, which includes Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, yeah, basically all those states. You could, if the average temperature is 50, it would probably be around, I want to say 57 to 60. And if you live in this little lake band here, you could be experiencing temperatures. If temperatures were average was 50, then you could be around 60 to 65. Again, big warm up. Now, what does the jet stream exactly look like? Well, saying that it's divided west and east, I can't really give you a good defined answer, as it's kind of hard to predict. But what I want to assume, the jet stream is going something like this. Kind of making like a smiley face. Kind of making like a giant smiley face across the country. Yeah, but that's the jokes, and yeah, that's actually kind of funny. Oh, oops, wrong one. And then by the time we get 3 to 4 weeks from now, things change a bit, to say the least. This is probably what becomes averaged out, because there's no, I mean, this might happen. There's a small chance it might. But the jet stream is easily definable here. Like this. Now, if you let's say you live near Seattle, okay, right? So if the average temperature again was 50, we're just doing these as examples here. The temperature would probably be around, I want to say 57 to 60, and then this area would be 55 to 57, and then this, hold on, give me a minute. It'd be 57 to 53, I would say, and then this area would probably be like from 51 to 53, if the average temperature was 50 again. Now this just goes across this, and sorry for not covering Alaska. I mean, it's basically the same in Hawaii. Yeah, like literally nothing's happening over here. So the cold bubble is right here. So if you live in Southern California, Southern Las Vegas, Southern Nevada, Southern Utah, far southwestern Colorado, western New Mexico, and Arizona, if the average temperature is 50, it'd probably be 47 to 49. Then if you live in this small strip, it's probably like 47 to 45. So yeah, that's what we could be seeing 3 to 4 weeks from now. Now by the time we get a month from now, this has basically just been amplified, and this has been turned into warmth. So yeah, if the average temperature was, yeah, this is literally just the exact same thing. So we don't really need to cover much. Literally, it's just the exact same thing, but that has turned warm, and that's amplified. 3 months from now, now the reason why I didn't give you the jet stream for the last one is because it was basically impossible to make out. Probably look something with the most southern jet stream, by the way. That's what I'll say. And then this I never see happening. This cannot happen. This is a big no-no. This cannot happen. There's no way. There's no way we would have two areas of neutral air plunge into the U.S. There's no way. Neutral air? Really? Okay. But now we look at the precipitation, which will be interesting. Now this we can clearly find a jet stream. Or can we? Because it's very hard to. 6 to 10 days from now, we can see wet across the west. Yep. And then wet across the far deep south. And then wet in New England. And then just okay. So let's say, right, I'm going to be doing this here. If the average precipitation was 1 inch, it would probably be 1.3 to 1.5 inches for that week. If you lived here, you would say that would be 1.1 to 1.3 inches a week. Now we're going to cover Alaska here because Alaska is kind of bad, and so is Hawaii. So if you live here, like in these Hawaiian Islands, like let's say if you got 1 inch, you would now probably get around 1.5 to 1.7 inches. And then Alaska would be the same thing. Now if you live in these dry areas here, this would mean that if you live in this area here, which is Wisconsin, Illinois, probably parts of Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. That means if the average was 1 inch, it would probably be 0.9 to 0.7 inches. And if you lived in this area, which is Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and Michigan, you would experience, if the average temperature is 1 inch, it'd probably be 0.7 to 0.5 inches. Now this isn't like actually, there's no way everybody gets 1 inch, and there's no way, like, it's like, remember, these are just percentages. These are chances to happen, and that would be most likely, and this is basically most likely to happen if they were at their strongest. Anyway, with the next outlook here, this is kind of clearly defined. Looking at the jet stream here, the jet stream seems to do something like this. Which I know we already covered, so I'm not going to really cover. So, let's say you lived, basically, I already covered these, but if you live in, this is going to be a long list here, Southern California, Western Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Northeastern, Northern, Northwestern, Western, Eastern, and Southwestern New Mexico, Northwestern Oklahoma, Kansas, Northern Missouri, Colorado, Utah, Eastern Idaho, Wyoming, Eastern Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Western Michigan. Those areas can be seeing pretty heavy precipitation, as well as parts of far southeastern Texas, southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and western Florida. Now, if you live in these areas, which is eastern North Carolina, eastern Virginia, far eastern West Virginia, far eastern Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, eastern New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, that means it's lower than average. And if you live in the small band with Connecticut, with, well, eastern Connecticut, Rhode Island, eastern Massachusetts, southeastern New Hampshire, and southern Maine. That means you're experiencing like, pretty dry conditions. By the time we're going to be going to a month from now, not 3 to 4 weeks from now, this looks interesting. Now this is kind of calm, more neutral. And again, the jet stream looks very similar to what we reported out in the temperature. Kind of look like this. Now, I'm not going to really cover Alaska and Hawaii because they just have wet and dry areas. But if you live in this area, Oregon, Washington, and California, if the average was 1 inch, it would be probably 0.9 to 0.8 because it's weaker. And then this, again, would probably be 0.9 to 1.1 to 1.2 inches, and this would be like 1.3 to 1.5 inches. And then over here too. By the time we hit a month from now, we're probably going to be seeing this, which is a very weird jet stream that's going to look like this. It's going to be kind of like an up and down curve. So, yeah, again, if you live in, I've already went over them. If you live in Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Washington, Oregon, that's a little drier. And then also Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado. With a tiny, 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 tiny sliver of Oklahoma in there. Now, this is why we're going to cover this, is because there's a new region, which means very, very wet. So if you live in far eastern Texas, far western Louisiana, far western Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, Nebraska, northeastern Wyoming, southeastern Montana, southern South Dakota, southern and western South Dakota, southwestern Iowa, Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Kentucky, basically all of Virginia, Delaware, and New Jersey. That means it's going to be, if it average was 1 inch, should be 1.1 to 1.4 inch. This area here would probably be 1.5 to 1.9, and then this area would be 2 inches or above. Again, this is if they're at the maximum. Now, heading into the models again, and going to 3 months from now, nothing really changes. It's just this little band expands. Literally, that's it. This area doesn't change. This area doesn't change. The only change is that Michigan's no longer drier than average. So, yeah, at least you have it. You have it, folks. That's the outlook. I mean, take the longer ones with a grain of salt because, again, that's very far out and that's hard to predict. But, anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I mean, yeah, this took me, like, an hour to upload. So, anyway, please consider smashing that like button and smashing that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. And I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, or night, wherever you are. Anyways, good